What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of But Does It Spin, and today we have the Gatling Dragon. Fantastic. Of course, always super nice to see Dragon once again. But not just any dragon. This is the Burst Ultimate version of Dragon. You can definitely tell that it does have a little bit of every iteration of the Dragon Beyblade onto the blade itself. It looks fantastic, looks so beautiful. It does have the metal driver on there. Very cool. I am very excited to see this, but not only that, we do finally get our next gear for Divine Belial. It is the D gear, and that's super cool because it's no longer the same S gear on Belial every single time, right? This time Divine gets to have his own gear, and we'll have to check it out. We'll have to see how that makes things different. So the question persists: does it spin? We'll have to check it out. But before we continue, leave us a like if you've been enjoying our videos, and consider subscribing to not lose any future videos of But Does It Spin. And without further ado, let's crack this baby open. So here we are with everything out of the box, and wow, it's a beautiful Beyblade. But before we jump into the Beyblade itself, let's take a look at the D gear, which everyone has been looking forward to as a new gear that came for our Belials. Of course, this takes the place of the S gear. That said, this might be somewhat more interesting or not as interesting depending on how you look at it. The S gear you could free spin, or you could invert it and put it on the forged disc, and it would be stuck on moving. But the D gear, you can't put both ways. You can only put one way, and it's not free spinning. It only turns 45 degrees, I think. And what it looks like is that it's taking some inspiration from the Sting forged disc. And even though Sting did have springs on it to make it have a bound effect, this won't have the springs, but it does kind of have that turn and hit kind of mechanic, depending on how hard you get hit with it. And it definitely does look like Sting on these points, though it has 4 points instead of 3. Still pretty cool, I think. We'll have to test it out to see if it actually works, if it's actually better than the S gear, but we'll do that in a bit. Now jumping in to the Beyblade itself. What a fantastic Beyblade, guys. It looks beautiful. Look at that. It's a fantastic Beyblade. And as most of you know, I didn't start collecting Takara Tomy stuff until Dynamite Battle. So this is practically my first dragon, like my real dragon, because I do have Hypersphere Dragon and Speedstorm stuff, but Hypersphere doesn't feel they were a far cry from the actual Beyblade itself. So it is what it is, but still you can see that it does look very cool. It does have a lot of motifs that reminds us of the older iteration of the dragons. But yeah, here we are. It is pretty heavy. The chip does have a sort of a bound effect as well. You can see the spring on there. It's not as it doesn't turn as much as the Valkyrie 1 core, but it does have like a smaller bound effect there as well. The blade itself, of course, it does have that Gatling mechanic. That's why it's called Gatling. Over here, it does. When it's normal like this, it doesn't. These blades don't move. The hits are, they're small enough that they will be doing a lot of counter attacks. But then, if you see on this dragon head, let me try to focus better. On this dragon head here, in the back of the head over here, when it gets hit, it pops out like that on both sides like that. And when that happens, these piece and these piece, they move back and forth. And what it does is that it will hit here and make this part come out to make that hit bigger. So it will be a series of a lot of hits in a short period of time, making that Gatling effect. It will continuously hit the enemy with a barrage of attacks, making it sound like a Gatling gun, perhaps. I don't know. One thing we noticed with the chain blade was that if you use a different core on it to make the chain parts stable, then they did also hit with a lot of barrage of attacks, a lot of smaller hits, and that, in my point of view, did sound like more like a Gatling gun kind of, because it was a ton of hits. I'm not sure how well this will work. We'll have to test it out, but that is the idea. It's a similar idea. This will also make the blade more oval, as you can see, which, as we all know, the more oval Beyblades, they were slightly less balanced. They did spin more aggressively and did hit harder sometimes. So, maybe that's the idea they were going for. But, it is what it is. That's what we have to talk about. The forge disc is a 10, which is one of the more useful ones. It is evenly distributed. Supposedly has 10 points of weights on here. So it is evenly distributed. It is one of the heavier ones. But as you can see, it is distributed on two sides, leaving these two sides not as weighted. So these two being on the longer side of Dragon makes it, keep that oval momentum going, which is fantastic. The forge disc, interestingly enough, is a Karma, which we saw on Guilty Longinus. Of course, on Guilty Longinus, this was spinning on the left direction, and that made it so the forge disc was more aggressive and like it could hit others with it. Sometimes when you try to stop the Beyblade with your hands, it did hurt a little because of these points. But of course, with Dragon, it will be spinning on the right side, and that will be less of a hit thing. It will be more like an aerodynamic way of spinning. It is what it is. We'll have to try it out and see if it's good or not. And of course, the driver, fantastic driver. It is a Charged Metal Dash. We did see Charged Metals before, but Dash, this is my first Charged Metal Dash. And of course, it does have a whole flat tip here, which will keep it aggressive. Being metal, it will have even less friction to the arena, so it will be moving around a lot. You do see that there is like a lot of metal at the bottom, so it will keep the weight down, keep the Beyblade more downward centered with the weight. These rounder shapes will help it with life after death, of course. When it turns, it will keep it going instead of just falling over, so it will help with the balance as well. And of course, being dash, it will give it more resistance to burst. So overall, in theory, it is a very decent driver, and we'll have to test it out. So these are the pieces. Let's assemble them, test them out, and battle them with some of the other Burst Ultimate Beyblades that we have. And that's it, folks. I kind of had a hard time. As you guys see, I am using a Pro Series arena because that's the only standard arena that I had that are on par with Takara Tomy stuff. That said, I'm wondering if the battles will be better if I do use a Dynamite Battle Arena, because I don't have those. And I felt like a lot of the times Dragon would just pick up the rail and just keep going. And when he was against Kerbeus, because he stayed in the middle, you know, Dragon just lost all of his stamina with the on the rail, and so he didn't really stand a chance there. Against Divine Belial, you saw that he would hit him and send him out pretty easily because Dragon is really heavy. But yeah, I felt like he had some hard time with the chain blades. Well, that's what I had to show you. Take the conclusions you like from that. Maybe the results would have been different on a Dynamite Battle Arena. Maybe not. I have no idea. But this is what we had, so it is what we did. Leave us a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe to see more videos like this. We are bringing other Beyblades of all kinds and generations to our channel. We do talk about other spinning tops as well that are not Beyblade related sometimes. And sometimes even stuff that are not even spinning tops, but that we spin just to see if we can. So if you're interested in stuff like that, I'll see you next time, and until then, stay nerdy, guys.